Hi, my name is Stephanie Taylor, and this is my speech on persuasion. My topic is secondhand smoke. Recently, my husband and I had the opportunity to go on a vacation with some of our friends. As we were walking around in a public area on a cruise boat, we were walking past some slot machines when a lady sitting at one of them decided to light up a cigarette. The smoke from her cigarette filled the room, the area where we were walking. My chest started to hurt, my lungs started to hurt, and I couldn't breathe. It was from the awful smell of the cigarette smoke. I had to get out of there as fast as I could and get fresh air to fill up my lungs so that it didn't have the cigarette smoke in them. By the end of this year, more people will die from secondhand smoke exposure than an average crowd at a Major League Baseball game. Secondhand smoke is an insidious killer that is harming adults and children around the country every day. My goal in speaking to you today is to inform you of the effects that secondhand smoke has on adults and as children, and hopefully to persuade you that smoking is harmful in many different ways. Some people say that smoking should be allowed anywhere, wherever you go. I disagree, on the other hand. But don't you say that this is America and that you should have the right to smoke wherever you want? If I wanted to pollute my lungs and ruin my health, then why should that be any concern of yours? Some people might say. These are some of the reasons why I believe that smoking should not be allowed in public places. What is secondhand smoke? According to the American Cancer Society, secondhand smoke is environmental tobacco smoke or passive smoke. It is a mixture of two forms of smoke that comes from burning tobacco. The first is called side stream smoke. It comes directly from the end of a lit cigarette. The second is mainstream smoke. That is the smoke that is exhaled by the smoker themselves. Side stream smoke has a higher cancer-causing agents than mainstream smoke. It contains smaller particles than mainstream smoke, which make way into your body cells more easily. When non-smokers are exposed to secondhand smoke, it is called involuntary or passive smoking. Non-smokers who breathe in secondhand smoke take in nicotine and other toxic chemicals, just like smokers do. The more secondhand smoke you are exposed to, the higher the level of the toxic chemicals are taken into your body. Secondhand smoke is responsible for many of the same exact diseases as if you were sucking on the cigarette yourself. According to the CDC, the secondhand smoke causes heart disease, coronary heart disease, cardiovascular disease, lung cancer, and respiratory diseases. The California Environmental Protection Agency found that passive smoking increases breast cancer in young women by 70%. Secondhand smoking is also found to be a cause of hearing loss in non-smoking adolescents. According to the Health and Medicine magazine, teens who had secondhand smoke exposure compared to those who did not have secondhand smoke exposure had higher rates of lower and higher frequency loss. More than 80% of participants didn't even know that they had an impairment when they were tested. Secondhand smoke increases the risk of cognitive impairment and dementia in adults age 50 and over. Now, on to the sad part of my speech, how secondhand smoke affects children. Parents want only the best for their children. I, being a mother of 3 children, want only the best for mine, especially when it comes to their health and wellness. I would do anything for my children, and I try to keep them away from harmful substances that will abuse their body. Parents who smoke put their children at risk. In a 2006 report by the U.S. Surgeon General, he said that secondhand smoke causes premature death and disease in children. Those who are exposed have a higher risk of developing sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS, lower respiratory infection, middle ear disease, severe asthma, respiratory symptoms, and slowed lung growth. Because children's respiratory, immune, and nervous systems are still developing, they are very vulnerable to health effects of secondhand smoke. Children depend on caregivers and their parents to take care of them. But what some parents don't realize and what some caregivers don't think about is that they are actually doing their children more harm than good by smoking around them and exposing them to secondhand smoke. Children usually are often exposed to secondhand smoke involuntarily. They just have to follow around their parents or caregivers wherever they go, and if they are exposed to it, well, then they are exposed to it. But they don't do it voluntarily. The home is the major place where children are exposed to secondhand smoke. Children are exposed to passive smoke. Children who are exposed to passive smoke are at greater risk of developing brain tumors. The California Environmental Protection Agency said that the risk of childhood cancer and adult lung cancers increases after children have been exposed in their childhood to passive smoking. Secondhand smoke is a problem wherever we go. Whether we go to a restaurant, a public restaurant where smoking is allowed, to a concert, or any event where smoking is allowed. It is impacting the health of our population, it is increasing the health care costs, and it is causing health-related problems and death. While people have the option to smoke, I, on the other hand, do not have the option of not breathing, nor do our children. If you do smoke, please do it responsibly, but please do it away from all of us who do not want to partake of your secondhand smoke. Thank you.